Thanks for tuning in to your daily dose of quick real estate updates, local housing trends, and market data, plus tips, tools, and strategies to help you buy, rent, or invest with confidence. You're now getting ready with RealiCare Reports, powered by the innovation team, Cami and Rex. Now go grab your favorite morning breakfast, coffee or tea, and let's enjoy today's episode.
Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. You have these veterans, right? Many in their 80s, even 90s, and they're making this just monumental journey to Washington, D.C.
To finally see the memorials, the ones built for them, it's incredibly powerful.
It really is. It's all about remembrance,
Yeah.
camaraderie, and just sheer gratitude. That's the core of what Honor Flight does.
It's an amazing mission, truly, making sure they feel appreciated.
Exactly. And we've been looking at some information about a pretty significant change coming up for one chapter, Space Coast Honor Flight right here in Florida.
Yeah, we saw an article, didn't we, from the City of Melbourne website.
That's the one. It lays out a key shift in how they operate, logistically.
So for our deep dive today, we're going to unpack that announcement.
Yeah, let's pull out the important bits, what's changing, why it's a big deal, and what it means for the vets and the local community.
And the headline, the big news right away.
Space Coast Honor Flight is changing its departure airport.
They are. The article says this was all made official just last week, actually, at a Melbourne Airport Authority board meeting.
Okay, last week. So the obvious question, where are they moving to? What's the new base?
The new spot is Melbourne Orlando International Airport, MLB.
MLB. Okay, got it. And the article gives specific dates, too, for flights planned this year, 2025.
It does. 3 flights planned from MLB for 2025. Let's see, September 6th,
Okay.
October 11th, and November 8th.
September, October, November.
Oh, got it.
And these flights, they're not small operations, are they? It's quite a few people involved.
Oh, absolutely. Each flight, according to the article, has 50 veterans.
50 vets.
And each vet is paired with a guardian, so that's another 50 people providing support.
Right. Essential support for the day.
Exactly. Plus, you've got 12 Space Coast Honor Flight staff members on board, too.
Wow. Okay, so doing the math, that's 112 people per flight.
Yep, 112 total. All heading to D.C. for that one. Very full day visiting the memorials.
It's a huge undertaking, focused completely on that recognition, that experience for the veterans.
Precisely. A day of remembrance.
And who's flying them? Does the article mention the airline?
It does. Allegiant will be operating these charter flights out of MLB.
Allegiant. Okay. Now, usually airports have, fees, landing fees, gate fees, stuff like that. But MLB is stepping up here. Right?
They really are. This is a great example of community support. The article states MLB is waiving all airport-associated fees for these honor flights.
All of them. That's significant.
Yeah, they called it support for a meaningful initiative.
Okay, now this is where it gets, I think, really interesting. The reason behind the move. Retired Rear Admiral James Hart, he made the announcement.
Yes, and he explained the core operational benefit.
He talked about the timing, didn't he? How long the missions used to take.
He did. He described the previous missions as a 24-hour evolution. Imagine that, a full 24 hours from start to finish.
That's incredibly taxing, especially, like you said, for older individuals.
Absolutely. So the move to MLB, this is the key part, is expected to cut that time down quite a bit.
How much are they expecting to save?
The goal, according to the article, is to get it down to around 18 hours.
18 hours, so shaving off about 6 hours from the whole day.
Yeah, a significant reduction.
And it might sound like just a number, 6 hours, but Rear Admiral Hart explained why that matters so much.
Yeah.
The impact they're aiming for.
Right. He said, and this is a direct quote, I think, it will make a positive difference for vets.
Less exhausting, more focused on the actual memorial visits. Makes sense.
Definitely. And he also mentioned another benefit. It should allow for more local community support.
Ah, okay. So maybe making it easier for people to come out for the send-offs, the welcome home ceremonies, things like that.
That seems to be the idea. Better timing for community involvement.
So that focus on the veterans' comfort plus boosting the community aspect. That seems like the real driver here, based on the article. And the airport folks seem fully behind it.
They do. The article quotes Greg Donovan. He's the executive director at MLB.
What did he say?
He expressed it was an honor and distinct pleasure to work with Space Coast Honor Flight. And crucially, he pointed something out.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He highlighted that Space Coast Honor Flight is self-funded.
That is crucial.
Yeah.
So important for people listening to understand. These flights aren't paid for by the government?
Nope. It all comes down to donations and community fundraising. His quote really encourages that support.
Good point. Was there anyone else quoted?
Yes, William Potter, the Airport Authority Board Chairman, he thanked everyone involved for working so diligently on this important endeavor. Shows that buy-in from the top.
So stepping back, the picture we get from this article is, well, it's a smart logistical move.
Right. Driven by wanting a better experience for the vets.
And boosting community connection.
Yeah.
All enabled by support from the local airport. But the core mission, that stays the same.
Exactly. Recognizing these veterans, celebrating them, giving them that day of remembrance and thanks at their memorials.
A day, the article notes, can have a lifelong impact.
Absolutely.
So wrapping this up, what does this deep dive into the specific article mean for you, our listener?
Well, it's a local story, sure. Space Coast, Florida, MLB Airport.
But it speaks to something bigger, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how communities, how planning, how dedicated people come together to make these incredible journeys happen for veterans across the country.
And it underlines that need, that constant need for community support, for self-funded groups like Space Coast Honor Flight. Without donations, these flights just don't happen.
It's a powerful reminder of the nuts and bolts behind the gratitude.
Yeah, it's not just waving flags. It's logistics, funding, volunteers.
And think about that detail we kept coming back to, cutting the trip time from 24 hours down to 18, that 6-hour difference. What does focusing on something like that, seemingly a small operational tweak, tell you about the immense level of care, the planning, the absolute focus on the veteran's experience and comfort that goes into organizing an honor flight?
It says a lot about the dedication involved. It really does. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other meticulous, often unseen efforts are going on behind the scenes? What other details are being managed constantly to make sure these incredibly important journeys are as safe, comfortable, and profoundly meaningful as possible for every single veteran who gets to go? Leaves you thinking.
Well, that wraps up today's episode of Reality Reports, where real estate meets real life. For more updates, tools, and insights that will help you buy, rent, or invest with confidence, be sure to follow, subscribe, stay connected, stay informed, and stay ready. Until next time.